What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaishi no Kami from the Toku and Animation News Network, and this is my quickie review of Superman, the new one that just came out from James Gunn, not the old one from the 70s. Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. Superman is, well, if you don't know what Superman is about at this point, you kind of need to hand in your nerd card because you're not a nerd. But in case you don't know, Superman is about an alien who was sent to Earth because his planet was going boom. He was a baby. They sent him to Earth to survive. And then he became a hero who is practically invincible, almost. And there's a guy, a businessman who's rich, that's very jealous of him, named Lex Luthor, who wants to kill him because he envies him and tries to do everything he can to drag his name in the mud, to make him look bad, to get the public to hate him. And that's basically the plot of this movie in a nutshell. Now, it is not the greatest comic book movie ever, but it might be the best comic book movie we have had in quite some time. It's fun. It's engaging, it's action-packed, and it also has some heavy flaws. But first, talk about what's great. The actors. All the actors do a wonderful job. Superman is fantastic. I don't know most of these actors from anything except this movie. I love them all. Obviously, I do know Nicholas Hoult, who is Lex, is from Mad Max and X-Men First Class and Nosferatu. He's a damn good actor. He may be the best live-action Lex to date. This is the first time I've actually seen Lex Luthor portrayed accurately to the comics on screen. I know a lot of people love the Gene Hackman version, and I have no idea why. Gene Hackman was just some low-life goon who looked like he couldn't even pay his rent. So he wasn't really Lex. Then we had Kevin Spacey playing Gene Hackman playing Lex. And then we had whatever the frick Jesse Eisenberg was. So now Nicholas Hoult has taken up the reins, and he does a damn good job. What I love about this is the villains are able to take on Superman because they have Lex's intellect telling them where they should hit, what part of Superman they should attack, what attack they should block, and so on, because Lex has studied Superman for so long, for 3 years. It's actually kind of funny because the movie starts off with 3 centuries ago this happened, 3 decades this happened, 3 years ago, 3 months ago, 3 minutes ago. And then later at the end of the movie, the one person's like, how long has that been going on? And the character says, oh, for about 3 months. So there were a lot of threes in here, which I found quite amusing. We've got some villains, one I'm not familiar with called the Engineer. Another one is Ultraman, who's this character wearing a full mask that seems to be able to match Superman's abilities, which you learn why later on. The story itself is pretty damn good too. Lex is trying to get people to hate Superman so that the government will allow him to execute him under law. We have other heroes called the Justice Gang, which obviously we all know they will eventually become the Justice League. It's Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. Hawkgirl doesn't really, I mean, she has one great moment in the movie, maybe 2, but she doesn't really have much of the way of character development whatsoever. She's kind of just there. Mr. Terrific has the best action sequence in the film, which was a fantastic scene, something I would totally expect to see out of a Kamen Rider or Ultraman series. Guy Gardner is played by Nathan Fillion, who does a pretty solid job playing Guy Gardner. He's got the mannerisms down of Guy Gardner being kind of a dick. This is a pretty good Superman story. We don't retell his origin, but you know what led him to be who he is. And there is a change in the story that some people aren't fans of, but it doesn't really change Superman's character one bit because Superman is who he is all the way through his body, his spirit. All of it is accurately portrayed on screen. The soundtrack is pretty damn good too. One of the best Superman soundtracks in quite some time. The movie is colorful. He's actually wearing blue and red with a yellow belt, not dark blue and maroon or whatever the frick that crap was that Zack Snyder did. Again, the actor who plays Superman does a wonderful job. I really believed he was Superman, and I will give Warner Brothers credit. They have been doing a great job on picking really good actors to play Superman. We had Tyler Hoechlin in the CW series. We had Brandon Routh in Superman Returns. Obviously, Christopher Reeves was like the definitive look for Superman because he really did look like the character just came off of the pages. And this new guy does a wonderful job. Henry Cavill, for all the movie's faults, he was the saving grace to the Snyder movies. However, we get into some not so great things. Yes, the action scenes are pretty damn good. There's a pretty good fight scene with the kaiju. Superman has a good fight in the stadium with the camera twirling around, but you can clearly tell everybody is in CGI in some of those sequences. It's just way too much CGI, which I get why you want to use CGI in these fight scenes. I mean, you're fighting in the air. It would look kind of weird being with wires, but there's got to be a way to do it where it isn't just CGI, something that the actors can do on those wires to make those motions look good, because sometimes the CGI was very distracting to the eyes. It kind of pulled me out of the action scenes every now and then. Like I said, they were still cool to watch, but I was like, oh man, why did it have to look like that? There's a few scenes of drama that are really intense that are then diminished by comedy. Like there's one scene, Lois and Mr. Terrific are talking, there's like this intense music going, and then it cuts to Mr. Terrific opening a garage, and the garage is just going, don't get me wrong, it was kind of funny, but at the same time, all that tension in that scene was like, and then it happened to get at the end with my least favorite scene. There's something going on. A character is in tears because they lost, and they're talking, they're giving this great dramatic speech, and then something happens that completely ruins the entire mood of the scene. It was just like, well, that was kind of diminished. That sucks. Now, don't get me wrong, what happened was kind of justified, but all that drama, all that tension, all the suspense you had going on, it was a speech that was really well done that's just ruined, and it's like, well, the speech doesn't really matter anymore because we had to completely ruin it with that. There are 2 post-credit sequences. Now, if you don't really care about post-credit scenes, it's nothing important, doesn't build up another movie. So if you're like, oh man, I don't want to sit through something that's not going to build up the next movie, you don't have to. But if you just want to enjoy 2 post-credit scenes because you like to sit through the credits, you've got 2 good credit scenes that are kind of fun. I will say I do wish there was a little bit more of Clark Kent in this movie, but I'm not exactly sure where that could have been fit given how many things were going on, how many characters were thrown in this film, how many Easter eggs there were, how many plot things were going on. It was a bit too much for 2 hours. There are a couple of sequences that probably could have been cut out or cut down. I mean, Metamorpho's in this movie, and I mean, the hard part is there's this pretty cool sequence that made me think of Cabin in the Woods, but honestly, I think if you had pulled that entire sequence out of the movie, nothing would have changed. Overall, though, I did have a good time. It was a solid comic book movie. It is right now probably the best Superman movie to date for live action movies. gave me the feels of Superman the Animated Series, had some good plot twists even if there were too many subplots going on, so I did really enjoy it. I loved having a Superman movie in the middle of the story instead of having another rehash of the origin, because we already know Superman's goddamn origin story. We don't need it again. Same with Batman. We don't need another origin story. Have you seen Superman? If not, are you planning to check it out? If you have seen it, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support me. You can support me on Bluesky and Patreon at tokuaannetwork, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami, and my website creativitybydesign.com. There's a couple of GoFundMes that you can donate to. One is to help keep the channel up and running for another 10 years. The other is for health purposes. Those are linked in the description below. Check them out. And until next time, bye.